Hello and welcome to our course Marketing Management Part 2. This is session 2 of week 2 in this course. I am Shashi Shekhar Mishra and I have with me my senior colleague Professor Jayanta Chatterjee.
Hello.
We are from Department of Industrial and Management Engineering, IIT Kanpur, and as you can recall, we were discussing about new product development in previous sessions, and we have talked about the ways to screen the new product ideas. So, what I am going to talk about today is which is related with the end stage of new product development process when the product is ready to be launched in the market. A concept which is very pertinent related to marketing is diffusion of innovations. So, how a new product idea service is get diffused in the market, how the customers adopt a new product or a service that is what we are going to talk about today. So, the diffusion of innovation is a concept which was popularized by Everett M. Rogers in his book on diffusion of innovation. The book came in 1962, first proposed the idea of how, why and what rate new ideas and technologies spread in a socio-cultural environment. And when we talk about diffusion of innovation, this is a multidisciplinary concept where the theories from the different areas of social sciences has come and they have tried to explain why a consumer adopt basically a new product or why a new product get diffused in the market and what rate it get diffused depends on the different factors. So, we will talk about what Rogers has talked about in this context. And in this case, when we talk about this diffusion curve is something which is commonly said that how the adopter categories are present in the market. So, there are different types of customers, they can the customers can be categorized in different category based on the way they perceived or they adopt a new product or the service or the idea, and there are 5 categories. We categorize them in innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority and laggards. This was a rough estimation given by at the beginning of when the concept started that the categories will be of this size, that innovators will be somewhere
I think if we assume that number of over time, the number of customers will be this have this distribution, normal distribution.
Yeah.
Then even mathematically we can derive these percentages.
Yeah. So, these percentage are close to what comes out as you are saying in the normal distribution, but you will see, I mean, like one can see the variations in the curve, the shape of the curve and the size of the category also. So, we will talk about these different category in a short while, but when we talk about the adoption of innovation or the adoption of innovation by an individual customer, so how it basically progresses in the consumer or in a customer is that an idea basically diffuse or starts with the first stage is that a customer come to know about a product or the idea. It is the knowledge is basically knowledge about that idea or the product or the service is the first thing that happens. In this stage the individual is first exposed to an innovation, but lacks information about the innovation. So, there is awareness about the thing, but the detailed knowledge is not there, and during this stage of the process the individual has not been inspired to find more information about the innovation. So, this is something where the motivation is not existing, there is just know how that something is existing in the market. The next stage is the persuasion where the customer or the individual is motivated enough to know further about the idea, and in this stage the individual is interested in the innovation and the actively seeks information detail about the innovation.
And this is an important stage for the entrepreneurial marketer.
Yeah.
That is how that persuasion happens
Yeah.
for a new product.
Yeah.
And how the matching between the product features and customers needs are created.
Yeah. So, how basically you can convince a customer and in what way you can keep the information present in the market. So, when a customer is looking, he find a suitability between his needs and the features which a product or the idea, new product idea has. Yeah. So, the next thing is the is the decision. Once a customer actively seek the information and then he evaluate the information about the new product, he compares it with the existing options. So, there are two options, either he is going to accept or he is going to reject the idea or the innovation. Now, depending on which way it goes will decide basically the rest of the things. Then once a customer has accepted the idea, the next stage is the implementation or the adoption or the started using about it. And when a customer start using a new product or the new idea, and then what happens, he is able to form an opinion about it. So, because this opinion is based on his experience, and that will actually decide whether in the future he is going to probably repurchase the product, or he is going to discard that new product or the idea. So, the last stage is about the confirmation. So, in this stage, although the name of this stage may be a bit misleading, but one can see that the individual finalizes his or decision to continue using the innovation and may end up using it to its fullest potential. So, these are the 5 stages of adoption. Now, I just would like to emphasize here that one should understand the difference between adoption and the diffusion is, while adoption is about related to individuals acceptance or the rejection of a particular new idea or product or the service. Diffusion is related with more of a seller's perspective, how a product is get diffused in the market. So, this differentiation should be clear in the minds of whomsoever is understanding, trying
Correct.
to understand this concept. Then the next stage which Rogers mentioned is something very important, like why a new product will get diffused in the market and at what rate it will get diffused in the market depends on the 5 factors.
And these 5 factors I think are extremely important for
Absolute. New products.
all new products, but this is of particular importance to entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Because they by definition have lack of resources or limited resources.
Yes.
So, if they understand this process
Yes.
or these 5 stages well,
Yeah.
then they will be able to create their value proposition
Yes, yes.
of their product or configure their product,
Yeah.
look at attributes and features of their products
Yeah.
or service that will cause faster diffusion.
Yeah. So, they can optimize the features so that it suits to the market, as well as they can allocate the resources to commercialize the product in
Exactly.
a way so that they get the maximum value extracted out of their
Absolutely.
innovation. So, the 5 characteristics of innovation that actually influence its diffusion in the market, the first one is relative advantage. Now, the relative advantage is the differential between the existing option and the new option. So, how good is the new option with respect to the existing option comes under this category, the relative advantage. The higher the level or the degree to which the new option is different from the existing option will decide how fast actually it gets diffused in the market. So, if we talk about the basic concept of the marketing, if the value delivered by a new offering is much higher than the existing options. So, if let us take about any smartphone, iPhone, if the next generation of iPhone comes and it provides significantly different features which excites the customer in a way that customer find it to be much improved than the previous version, you will see that it gets diffused in the market very fast. So, that is about relative advantage. Now, compatibility is the level of compatibility that innovation has to be assimilated into an individual's life, or if we talk about business market, into the organization system that a firm has. How that the new option gets assimilated, or how compatible it is with respect to the overall environment of the individual consumer or the existing systems in a firm. Now, you can find plenty of examples in the past where a product might be a very radical or might provide sufficiently good idea, but you will see that it might not be very compatible with the existing system, and that is where the customer find it very difficult to adopt the product, and that is why the diffusion of some of the very good products is very slow in the market. Like as you talked about, the people in certain age group or a particular type of customers will find out to understand a new type of software upgrade, they find it very difficult, and the new software upgrade might not be compatible with the existing other software, complementary software systems. So a customer will find it very difficult to manage the new software in this new situation. That will make this compatibility problem. As the same is true in the case of business market, that if a new technology or the new product comes, but it is not very compatible with the existing system of the organization or the employees or the people who operate those equipments or the systems, they find it this new option not very convenient to them. This option will find it very difficult to get accepted in the market.
Yeah, for example, I think ATMs or telebanking came to the Western world much earlier. So there was a lot of time that was spent and lot of persuasion happened for people to shift from the physical branch banking to relying more on ATMs and more on telebanking. In India, the ATMs, telebanking and the internet banking all arrived almost at the same time. So in the Western world, the people took to e-banking far faster, because already many people had with different types of cards, and they were already used to ATMs, etc. That means some amount of self-service technologies and automation. In India, on the other hand, we kind of leaped through the one stage. So that is why the offtake of e-banking in India was rather slower, because this compatibility issue, the backward compatibility
is
so physical banking to ATM banking to e-banking is a compatible progress, whereas physical banking to e-banking is a lesser compatible progress. That is why that pace was slower of adoption of that new service.
Similar to this example is the diffusion of ERP systems also, that in somewhere people find it very difficult that they can the existing legacy system to be defined, or there needs to be modified with the new ERP systems, and that is where this system find it very difficult, or it was not compatible with the existing systems of the firm. So compatibility was an issue there also. Now talking about the third thing, which is complexity. Now with a new product or the new offering might be very good, it might be compatible with the existing system of the customer. However, it is so complex that a customer cannot operate it, or they find it very difficult to probably use the benefit from the product. They will probably, in that case also, it will get discarded, or the option will not get diffused very easily in the market. And there are so many examples about it, similar to what probably in many software it has happened, that a software might be very good, but it requires people to again learn probably or acquire new set of skills, and it is very difficult and it is very complex. It has a number of modules inside it, and that makes it very complex. Its complexity, the degree of complexity is very high. So in those cases also the diffusion will not be an easier thing.
And I think 10-15 years back, when people really understood this, then many innovative new products which are inherently very complex, but they understood that the user interface must be made very, very simple. So if you take, for example, a camcorder or all of these personal movie cameras, they are very complex technology based and very complex execution. If you open the box, inside I think these are some of the most complex devices ever developed. But the user interface is so simple that even a child can use it. This emphasis that inside complex outside simple.
Yeah.
Make the user interface as easy, as simple as possible. This was a great realization, I think 10, 15 years back. That's why we see all new products which may be inherently very complex.
Yeah.
They rely on the simplicity of the user interface to increase the rate of diffusion.
Yes. So the next basically the characteristics of innovation is trialability. This is related to how easily a new customer, I mean how easily an innovation can be tried by the customers. Now you have an innovation which is good in all the previous three things, but it's not easy for the customer to try it. In that cases probably again it will find it difficult to get acceptance in the market, and that is where we see that in India we have seen this in consumer market, this packaging has a very important role to play, where the new shampoo or new products came into the smaller packages, they were distributed freely to the customers, so that enhance the trialability. So it's very important at this point of time to understand also that if a new product fail at the trial stage, then rest of the its diffusion process and all the other marketing planning process will not work, because a customer has to first try it, and then if he tries and if he is satisfied, then probably he is going to think about the repurchase and recommending it to others. But if trialability is not there, if that is not made that is not simplified, then the again the diffusion is going to be a difficult job.
I see that in the of Rogers 5 factors, this trialability has been taken up by almost all marketers very sincerely, because not only this introduction of sachet, I find that even new generation cars utilizing different new technologies freely promote this trial run or go for a ride sort of campaigns, because I think people have understood. So that's why when you go to a mall, the marketers have understood there are so many small kiosks which are giving you opportunity to try out a new soup or a new kind of tea blend or some new kind of jam, or so food, beverage and different personal care products, a new cream or a new deodorant or perfume, they rely on this trialability a lot.
I just like to add, or probably something which is going, what you are saying is proving that marketeers have taken it as a very seriously, is that we are talking about all these physical sellers. Now if we talk about in e-commerce also, there are so many companies in that space, they are trying that the customer can virtually try the product. So there are companies which are making the lens and the frames. They provide you the opportunity that you can put your face. In fact, they can capture your photo on in front of if you are sitting in front of a device, you take your photograph, you can put different frames, you can try the different options, and in fact that sometimes give you a much more broader option than what probably physical stores will give. There are so many basically e-commerce companies which are working on this concept that even people can try clothes. So if a consumer provides the dimensions, you can see your overall probably how the clothes fits into the 3D space. So this trialability problem, the different vendors or sellers, they are trying to address in a different ways actually, so that this gets minimized.
I think you have made a very good point that e-commerce companies earlier, they were talking more about faster delivery. Now I often see they talk about faster and easier return policy, that people will just go and pick it up from your house, and it will they try to make it as painless as possible. Even companies which are selling high value items, more specialty items like jewelry etc. on the internet, they are heavily promoting this concept of trial, free trial. People will come to your house, you try out something which costs 15,000 rupees, you like it, keep it, don't like it, return it immediately. that sort of thing.
Yeah, because and the entire point is let the customer try. If they try, then only they will purchase something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last characteristics which has a serious impact on the diffusion is observability of the innovation. Now, what is the basically inside the observability is that the extent that innovation is visible to others. An innovation that is more visible will drive communication among the individual. So, this last thing which talks about like how easily a new product and idea can be noticed by the people and how easily it can get communicated in the society or in the target market is about observability. Now, this is also important because something which does not get noticed will also be not probably be tried out, and then people will also not be able to basically probably judge it whether it is good or bad. So, many times it happens that with such a heavy promotion and the frequency of promotion, many times new product with limited budget do not get noticed because of this thing, that and that is why marketeers are thinking of radical ideas in their communications, like how they communicate new ideas or about the new products in ways, so that because from the customer's point of view they have a very small time period to notice something, and in that time period how they are able to persuade the customer. So, that is about observability.
Correct.
So, now moving to the categories of the adopters, which we have talked about. There are 5 categories of adopters. Each category of adopters will have their own characteristics. So, now talking about the first characteristic, the innovators, these are those people who will have a high risk tolerance. They have a tolerance to uncertainty, because whenever a new product is launched, there is not much of information about it available in the market, and to judge it is always there, comes with certain kind of risk. So, these are those people who are ready to take that risk. They can deal with the uncertainty, ambiguity,
And they take pride in being the
yes,
first to use something.
Yes. So, these are the people who will probably flash their new phone or new equipment they have, and that is why you will also see these are the people who are closer to the scientific advancement also. Now, one thing I would like to emphasize here is person who is an innovator for one product category may not be innovator to the other product category.
Very important point.
He might be anyone among the rest of the 4. So, it depends on the interest and different personal factors that also contribute to the innovators category. Now, with the innovators, the next category is about the early adopters. Now, early adopters are basically the opinion leaders. These are the people who will wait for some time. They will like to get
They will observe the innovators.
Yeah, they will observe the innovator. They would like more information to come, and then they will judge. So, now you can understand their decision making or their judgment about the product is more judicious, and that is why, because of their this kind of way in which they make the decisions, they have a high regard in the community, which probably will follow what these early adopters or the opinion leaders are doing.
And I think the current research shows that these innovators and early adopters are people who are also very active on the social media.
Yes, yeah.
They want to publicize the new camera they are using, or the new place they visited, or the new restaurant they have patronized, and so on.
Yeah. So, marketeers try to influence the early adopters, or if you are able to pursue them in a positive sense, then the word of mouth is much faster and probably more favorable to you. Then you have early majority, which is slower in the adoption process, have above average social status, and they follow, basically they are in touch with these early adopters, they follow them, and seldom hold positions of opinion leaders, norm followers. So, these are the people who will follow.
But these people are very important from your cash flow
Yeah.
and profitability perspective,
Yeah.
because this is where
They are going to provide the numbers.
yes, exactly.
Yeah. So, then early majority, and then this late majority. Late majority are the people, again, I mean they are important for you, because cash flow is again they will also provide you the numbers, but these are the people, these last two category particularly, they will have a high degree of skepticism about the new idea or the product. They will not accept anything. So, they will always be suspicious about what is coming, and they will would like to probably see that this thing, the new idea gets proven in the market, and they will probably also look into the other early categories so that they can follow them. So, they have a very less risk taking capability from that point of view. And the last are basically the laggards. These are traditional people, highly risk averse, lowest you can say in this, if this is the way, the interest is the way you categorize the market, they have the lowest social status in the market or in that society. So, these are basically the 5 categories of the what you say the adopters. And now related with this, when we have talked about these opinion leaders, because from the marketeer's point of view, these opinion leaders are very important.
Correct.
These are some of the characteristics, and I think you have already explained that these are the people, this opinion leaders are the people which are very active in the social media, and they have a very high influence in the network. So, talking to them and probably influencing to them could be a very good way of communicating to the rest of the market. So, understanding this concept of opinion leader helps you in diffusing your product better.
And earlier, when social media was not that active or had not become so all pervasive, I think marketers use celebrities as a proxy. So, they use celebrities to shape the opinion and show them as early adopters to influence the early majority. But nowadays, genuine users are emerging as very powerful force on the social, because of this ubiquitousness of the social media. It's everywhere, easily accessible, and these are early adopters and these innovators. They want to talk about their experiments in purchase, and so in many ways I see celebrity endorsements being replaced by focus on this community of early adopters and innovators.
Because because it's more targeted to the relevant market, that you go to the market or you approach to the customer from the people who are the most credible people. So, if they talk about it, people are going to believe more about the product than probably the influence of a celebrity or probably a mass communication methods.
So, I see that, for example, high risk products or complex products, particularly information appliances, people give a lot more credence to the comments coming from other users. So, many websites, e-commerce websites, they give the ratings given by other purchasers. Many of them are these early adopters, innovators, and so therefore later buyers, they give more value to that rating rather than which film star is endorsing that product, or which leader, political leader is talking about that product or not.
I will give you a specific example of what you are talking about. Just like if you look at the TripAdvisor, that is not a company which is basically a seller in the tourism sector, but they capture the opinion of the different travelers, and at the same times if you look at the reviews and the comments of a fellow traveler or the tourist, the TripAdvisor will also provide about the information or the profile of the person who is commenting. So, you will understand whether this person is a very experienced traveler, he forms an opinion, and you can expect certain kind of thing, and then you can expect basically a certain kind of credibility, and that basically helps a customer to form the opinion with more confident way.
Absolutely.
So, I think we have covered this concept of diffusion of innovation in this session. We will stop here, and when we will meet in the next session, we will talk about the rest of the concept which are there in new product development process. Thank you very much.
Thank you.